education and psychoanalysis is fine. Pedophiles are not going to stop raping children because somebody psychoanalyzes them. They're going to stop when, like they do today, when the penalty is stiff enough that they can't do it. And right now, the only thing that stops them is bullets in the back of their head or a permanent jail sentence.
Punishment has never stopped crime. Punishment has never stopped crime. It hasn't stopped it in America. It don't stop it in Africa. It don't stop it in the Middle East. If you're saying that taking life for pedophiles to know that you're murdering other pedophiles is going to stop their behavior, that is absolutely ridiculous. No more than knowing you're going to go to jail for raping somebody stops rape from occurring. And the reason why it doesn't stop these types of behaviors from occurring is because they have unconscious psychological motivators that are related to a delinquent and deficient childhood and lack of emotional nurturing early on in their years. You are not going to stop psychological illness by punishing it. It's ridiculous. It is never going to occur. Get to the children, raise them correctly, provide them with what they need, and you will see that the amount of this sickness will start to reduce itself when the children are properly being taken care of. But again, we want to get them at the end of the cycle and say, you've been messed up by this white society, and you've been messed up because we ain't built a damn institution for none of you, nor have we provided any type of programs to help your children. We know that, but because you got messed up and polluted by the system, now we got to kill you, even though we're just as responsible as you are for what you did, because we knew if we didn't step in, chances of you becoming the way you are were going to significantly increase, but we still stood by the lines and done nothing. And because you have become another casualty in this psychosexual war, we're just going to kill you because we don't feel like doing what we need to do to prevent you from getting sick in the first place. It's reactionary. I'll never support that nonsense.
I don't give a damn what they may feel about white people. I hate white people. All of them. Every last iota of a cracker, I hate him. Because we're still in this condition, man. You want to play? We didn't come out here to play with nobody.
Samir targets only his people with his Black Power message. He preaches racial separation and rages against police brutality against blacks. He believes that only revolution can liberate his people, and rejects the idea that the election of Barack Obama will usher in real change. Samir will use any opportunity to shout his message, even at a festival celebrating African heritage.
We didn't come out here to play today. There's too much serious business going on in the black community to be out here sliding through South Street with white, dirty, cracker whore on our arm, and we call ourselves black men with African garb on. What the hell is wrong with you, black man? You had a doomsday with a white girl on your damn arm. We keep begging white people for freedom. No wonder we're not free. Your enemy cannot make you free, fool. You want freedom? You're gonna have to kill some crackers. You're gonna have to kill some of their babies. Let us get our act together. It's time to wake up, clean up, and stand up. Black power? Black power? I damn it, I said black power. Black power. Black power. That's wrong.
That's right.
Is we want to talk to our children and teach them about predators. That's why we created the video Predators in Our Midst, so that our children can look at it and say, wow, we didn't know people would do these things. They can hear from pedophiles. They can see what kind of sick things happen. And now the child is conscious, so that they are conscious to try to protect themselves. 2, talk to our children and gain your children's trust and make them comfortable telling you anything. Because if your child will tell you anything and they're conscious of what's happening, then a lot of times, not all the times, but a lot of times they can avoid the assault, because they know what's coming and they tell you, hey, this is why I'm feeling uncomfortable. And then as a parent, you can step in. And then also for brothers, we got to start being organized. Even if we're not an organization, we need to talk and be serious about it. It needs to be a platform that black men have just on a regular basis. Hey, we protect our children. We make sure ain't nobody messing with children. And when we deal with brothers that start saying funny stuff about young people, we need to let them know, friend or foe, whoever they may be, hey, that's not something we cool with, and I'm not down with that. And you know what? Why don't you step over there, Slim? Because if you come in my space with that, there's going to be some problems. We can start changing it overnight. And lastly, consequences. When people are guilty, not when they're accused, when they're guilty of sexually abusing our children, they need to face this most severe consequences so that our people in our community know, no matter how old you are, no matter what race you are, no matter what your excuse is, if you put your hands on a black child sexually and violate them, we're coming for you, we will destroy you. That's the message they need to get.
America now, the only minority issue is the LBGT agenda. You hear almost nothing about black folk. That was the reason it was deregulated. However, although I don't support homosexuality, I cannot hate or deride the homosexual or the lesbian, because being a therapist, I do work with homosexual and lesbians, adults as well as youth. And in my experience, my direct clinical experience, most of the African American and Latino males that I have worked with, young and old, were all victims. 9 out of every 10, there were a few exceptions, were victims of pedophilia in their early years, normally before 12.
And you suggest then that that pedophilia contributed to their lifestyle behavior?
Well, not even what I suggest. What they say in therapy is, I am this way because my first sexual act was with a male. And for whatever reason, Dr. Johnson, it's done something to me that makes me feel that this is the way I'm supposed to be, coming from the client. And of course, there's always different perspectives on the etiology of homosexuality. But why do you never hear that voice? Why do you never hear discussion on the role of early sexual molestation as a trigger for homosexuality? Am I saying every single person who's gay was a victim of childhood molestation? No, I'm not. But why has there been no discussion on the many who have? In my experience, and I've met probably close to 100 gay or lesbian African American and Latino brothers and sisters, and guess what? Most of them had that as the etiology. I work with lesbian girls in the high schools. They'll tell me in a minute, you know why I'm this way? I wasn't born this way, Dr. Johnson. I'm this way because I was sexually molested. I grew up in a house where I saw my mother get beat on by my father. So I have a distrust and almost a hatred towards black men. I'm consciously living with another woman because I'm afraid to live with a black man.
Kleber und müssen stehen.
Black Power, family, Black Power, Black Power. Pardon the lateness. We had an emergency we had to really, really deal with. But we're here. We are here. We are here. Pedophiles in our community. I'm talking about those who are sex maniacs, on young black boys, girls, infants, all kinds of crazy stuff. I know many people have been abused and are afraid to talk about it. All right. We have our very esteemed comrade right here out of Philadelphia, Pennsylvania, my big brother, Brother Dr. Umar Abdullah Johnson, who will also be giving us his words of advice, wisdom, and expertise. So I called Dr. Umar in because I really needed this brother. I called Dr. Umar in because this situation is detrimental enough for me to call Dr. Umar, because we need some help with this thing.
Well, let me do this. And I generally try as much as possible not to come into a conversation, because this is the King Samir show. And your guest is Brother Umar Johnson. And, you know, to me, both of y'all brothers, Brother Umar, for always being there for our family. Brother, we thank you for so many things. We've called on this brother so many times, and every time we ask him for his assistance, without any provocation or any hesitance, this brother lends his expertise and assistance to us at all times. So we thank you. And Brother King Samir, I can't even put into words what this means to me, what you did tonight, brother. You've been a brother I love tremendously, but what you did tonight, you gained lots of points in my book. But I feel compelled to say something here, because I got to say one thing, and then I'm going to turn it right back over to you, Brother Samir. Because I'm one of the primary proponents and have been one of the initial people that I have heard, or that I'm aware of, who's gone on a mission to exterminate pedophiles in the black community, I have to stand up for that position. I 100% respect Brother Umar. He's a healer. That's what he does. He heals our community. And I think that if he is a healer and he can heal our people, the only position he can have is that our people can be healed. Otherwise, he couldn't do his job. So I respect his position. However, I'm not a healer in the same way this brother is. I'm a cleanser. I'm looking at the victims of sexual abuse as the victims. And if somebody puts their hands on a black child, I want them dead. I don't want to talk about why they done it. I want to stop it at the source, and I want to stop the cycle. I do want to send as many of our people to Brother Umar and other brothers and sisters out there like him. We need to give support to them, because they can help our people. But once you decide you want to victimize our babies, I want you to die that moment or the moment before you actually get your hands on it. I want you dead. I don't want to negotiate it. And though I respect his position, and I ain't going to say that he's wrong, I'm going to say there's nothing inside of my soul that's going to ever stop me from seeking the full extermination, not only of pedophiles that rape black children, but of the race that put pedophilia into our community, that forces us to even have these kind of dialogues. So I just felt compelled, because I can't sit here and act like I don't know that I'm one that's putting that message out there. And we have a different message in that regard. And I respect the brother, but my message is going to always be the same. If somebody is guilty of sexually abusing black children, they should die.
And we will respectfully disagree on that point. My focus would be on eliminating the causes that bring that about. You can remove every European off the face of the earth right now, and you're still going to have pedophilia in the black community. And my argument is going to remain the same, and that is killing pedophiles does not eliminate the sickness. You have to cut it off at its core. To kill people when we're not actually preventing that sickness from being developed into children, there's no cure whatsoever. You'll be killing people from today until the end of civilization, until we recognize that we have to cut it off at its source, uproot the illness, and that way you prevent the pedophile from being developed. But to exterminate someone who's already been victimized without first seeking to rehabilitate that doesn't make us any better than the European. And that's my position.
All right.
It's back on you, brother.
Yes, sir. Well, I'll say this. I see both sides. I see both sides. I do. I see both sides. I do believe in repairing the damage. I do believe in repairing the damage. But if the nail keeps sliding out the 2x4 and the roof keep falling the hell down because the nail refuses to stay in its place to hold up the roof, the nail got to come out. The roof has to be rebuilt. So I'm going to take that damn weak nail and throw it away. I'm going to remove that weak nail that is causing my roof to continuously fall down.
Where are the institutions for the children to prevent them from being exposed to this illness? You cannot treat death when you first haven't taken care of life.
Exactly. And that's where I'm going, trust me. But at the same time, again, I agree with both sides. I agree with both sides. I do. That's just where I'm at. But this was one of the reasons why I had to bring this to the table, because I wanted everybody else's feedback. I wanted to hear from everyone else on how we should handle this thing. And yes, it's just like saying to a drug dealer, stop dealing drugs, but hell, I ain't got nothing to offer you. You understand what I'm saying? And we have to create our own health institutions, our own psychological institutions. We need our own damn nation, just period. But at the same time, the other side of me, I look at these images of these children, and I don't know them. I don't know what these children look like. I just see images of black babies being raped, being grinded on, being woman handled by a 23-year-old woman who knows better but refuses to do better. I mean,
there's something to be said there as well, Brother King Salman, not to complicate the conversation, because I'm definitely not a supporter of that type of behavior. But at the same time, I recognize that the black community is also an accomplice to the crime by doing nothing to prevent it. And when we say that she has control over what she does and she does not. You have to recognize that pedophiliac behavior is based on her trying to meet an unmet psychological need. It's very sick, but the reason children or adults have sex with children is because they are seeking the intimacy that they never got from their own biological parents. That's why they choose young children, because they're looking for someone whom they can depend on, who really does not have the opportunity to negate them when they attempt to engage for that emotional bond. That's why you see the neglect, the emotional neglect within the childhood profile of nearly all sex offenders. That sex is an attempt to reclaim that intimacy that they were deprived of by their parents. So they don't even understand a lot of times why they do what they do. The fact she likes you a question doesn't. Let me ask you a question, brother. Let me finish my statement. The fact she likes it, okay, doesn't tell you any more about the situation than if she didn't like it, no more than a drug addict or a murderer, okay, likes doing what they doing. Of course they like it. But what are the unconscious reasons for the motivations of the behavior? And that is she's lonely, she's isolated, probably depressed, and she's looking for someone to love her. And because her childhood experience taught her that she can't get it from her parents, she's going to get it from someone whom she can completely control, which is a young child. It's sick, and it can't be tolerated. But we have to recognize where it started. Her own neglect by her own parents, who probably suffered from the same cycle. I'm saying treat the cause. Extermination as a solution is not a solution.
Right. And she did say, see, we got to remember, family, she did say when I asked her, what is it about children? Okay? She did say because they don't fight back, they don't talk back. You understand? See, we have to be very mindful, family. Yes.
Right.
Yep.
Right. She's a sexual addict. So, I mean, even to the point of molesting her own 8-week-old daughter. Okay? We're dealing with a sex addict. How do we deal with that degree first? Because remember, family, the white man taught us how to have sex. He taught us how to love. He taught us how to hate each other. He taught us everything the way we know about everything today. Seriously. And we have to remember that. This cracker taught us the basics of even having sex. I mean, yes, sir.
And I don't want to cut off, but is it? Can I engage in this conversation?
Yes, sir. Wait, how many more callers do we have?
We don't have any more callers right now. Actually, brother just called back, and he said he wants to get back on, but he's the only other caller.
Okay. Well, yes, sir. Please do.
Okay. Here's my thing. First of all, I don't agree with the fact that it doesn't solve the problem, because if you look at the problem, if you look at it from a narrow view, like the only thing you're going to do is kill somebody and you're not going to solve the problem, you're only looking at from one half of the issue, because there's another issue that we're not considering. Pedophiles can range between 60 to 360 children that they will rape and molest before they pass. So when you kill a pedophile, it's not just that you're killing that person. You're preventing between 60 and 360 people who don't have to go through this from going through it. So when you consider that part of it, what I would say is, if you care about the future of your race, you have to consider the full picture. Your objective is to do two things. One, to definitively ensure, and then definitively ensuring does not mean giving to some European to see if they can psychoanalyze them and then put them back in our community so that they can do the same thing again. To definitively ensure that this individual who is guilty, we're not talking about somebody suspected, guilty of raping a black child, never can do it again. That's one. So no other black child will ever be a victim by that person. And secondly, you sending a message to everybody out there that, you know what? We are sick as a people. And we all got issues. Hey, I've done a lot of damage to our own community myself. I can't lie. I've done it. I've hurt people. But I'm going to tell you one thing. I got a, 6-week-old baby girl? There ain't no, psychoanalysis you're going to give me. Somebody put their hands on my daughter. I'm going at them. I'm going at them with everything. And if there's anybody around who knew about it, I'm not playing no games. That's my daughter, man. I'm not leaving the well-being of my child up to some semantics in some doctor's office. Look, we got to have some rules in the black community, something that people know is sacred. If our children and babies ain't sacred, then we're going to get treated just like we're getting treated by the European, because it's laughable. People don't, you got to, if you can't say that if somebody rapes my child, I'm going to kill him. If that can't be the penalty for that crime, then there's no reason for us to continue to fight as a race, because that means our children ain't even sacred enough for us to strike. We got to have something to strike on. And our people always find a clever explanation not to want to strike and shed blood. And I'm going to say, if the rape of a black child is not the line that we say, hell, you cross that, you got to die, then we don't have a line. And maybe we should be exterminated.
First, let me say that the fact that there's causes to sexual abuse and pedophilia, okay, to admit that there's causes is not making a scapegoat or an excuse for the sickness. But it is idiotic to believe that by taking a life, you're preventing the sickness, because pedophilia is not a bunch of individuals. It is a normal outgrowth of children who are subjected to an unhealthy and abnormal system that is not of their making and not under the control of their community. You can kill that one pedophiliac, but there's hundreds of others being developed. Furthermore, if you're going to kill the pedophiliac, you're going to have to kill them as children, because most of them started out as child sex offenders, molesting their own blood relatives when they were 7, 8, 9, or 10 years old, before they were really able to recognize that what they were doing could qualify as rape. on pedophilia. And the fact that their sickness, when it was treatable, went untreated by their own community, and now they're engaging in that behavior which has now become pathological as an adult, and now we want to step in and say we're going to kill them because we didn't get to them when we could have done something about it, and to ignore the fact that the person you're killing is being killed because they weren't properly raised, nurtured, and looked out appropriately for by the community, makes you a reactionary. And you cannot build any community now or in the future with reactionary behavior. You're not fighting a bunch of individuals. Pedophilia is a force. You're going to see hundreds. You're going to get thousands. You're going to get tens of thousands until we decide to build our own socialization and education mechanisms for our children. But killing someone who molested a child is not going to stop those children from being molested because there's other ones. And just like with all sex offenses and offenders, it's difficult, very difficult to identify beforehand exactly who is going to do the offending, okay, because not all trajectories are going to be the same. Not only do you not know who exactly is going to do the offending, you don't even know who they're going to select for the offense itself. And so basically, after you kill them, they have already committed the crime. So you say you killing them to prevent that 360 from going through the same nonsense? Well, guess what? 9 times out of 10, they done already got to the 360 before you got to them because they started out as child sex offenders from the 3rd and 4th grade. You ain't solving no problem like that.
I got to say, I respectfully disagree with that. The reality of it is, first of all, there has been nothing that has definitively proven that a sex offender can be rehabilitated. There is nothing.
That is not true.
Wait a minute. I'm proving on a higher level. The European is the one whose culture, since time immemorial, has been a pedophilic culture. Nothing that has occurred in the history of this world has stopped them from being pedophiles. They raped our children in slavery. They passed it on to us. They made us rape our own children. They're raping our children in reformatories now. They've created a system where our children get raped. They go around the world and put their military on people, and they rape people in Africa. They're training African troops to rape little boys and little girls in the Abu Ghraib prison. We saw the pictures where they're raping men. The pedophilic instinct in the European, which is not some force that comes from nowhere, it comes from European culture, is the source of European culture. There is nothing that has shown that can be curbed. The instinct for Europeans to ravage the anuses and the souls of young boys is so deep that it permeates even through their religion, through Catholicism, where they always raping little boys. This is part of what they are. And now that they have access to our people, homosexuals are adopting our children. It would be ridiculous for us to think they're not being raped. If you look in Haiti, what's going on in Haiti now is an abomination. They're systematically raping young boys in Haiti. So we not only face an internal situation of sexual abuse in our communities that has been a cycle that can be stopped when we take it very seriously enough that a person knows that if they get caught doing it, they are surely going to die. One thing I have learned with anything for black people, there's one serious thing that is a learning tool for black people, and it's called pain. I've had many situations where I've dealt with brothers. You try to talk to them, you try to do all these different things. One thing black people understand is pain. And that's why we don't get up to fight this European. It's not because we don't realize that they're killing our people, that they're murdering our babies, that they're assassinating our communities, that they're keeping us off these jobs and mistreating us. You know why we don't fight them? Because we know that they will blow our goddamn brains out. They will burn our homes down and they will kill us. We are afraid because we know that if we strike, when they strike, they're going to strike serious, hard, and long. And you know what we do because of that? It chills us out. We want to get up and stand up, and only the bravest of the brave will go out there and do anything. It works. So I'm saying that same philosophy can work in the black community. Look, there's a lot of mistakes that can be made. But one mistake that if you make this mistake, you're going to be killed if you put your hands on our children. In addition to that, see, this is the part that's not being talked about. Here at War on the Horizon, we have DVDs, Predators in Our Midst. We put out the information into the community so people can see it and try to prevent the continuance of the cycle, to understand where it came from, to understand how it permeates. So you are doing something to prevent it. But the reality of it is education and psychoanalysis is fine. Pedophiles are not going to stop raping children because somebody psychoanalyzes them. They're going to stop when, like they do today, when the penalty is stiff enough that they can't do it. And right now, the only thing that stops
have never stopped crime.
Bullets in the back of the head or a permanent jail sentence.
Punishment has never stopped crime. Punishment has never stopped crime. It hasn't stopped it in America. It don't stop it in Africa. It don't stop it in the Middle East. If you're saying that taking life for pedophiles to know that you're murdering other pedophiles is going to stop their behavior, that is absolutely ridiculous. No more than knowing you're going to go to jail for raping somebody stops rape from occurring. And the reason why it doesn't stop these types of behaviors from occurring is because they have unconscious psychological motivators that are related to a delinquent and deficient childhood and lack of emotional nurturing early on in their years. You are not going to stop psychological illness by punishing it. It's ridiculous. It is never going to occur. Get to the children, raise them correctly, provide them with what they need, and you will see that the amount of this sickness will start to reduce itself when the children are properly being taken care of. But again, we want to get them at the end of the cycle and say, you've been messed up by this white society, and you've been messed up because we ain't built a damn institution for none of you, nor have we provided any type of program to help your children. We know that, but because you got messed up and polluted by the system, now we got to kill you, even though we're just as responsible as you are for what you did, because we knew if we didn't step in, chances of you becoming the way you are were going to significantly increase, but we still stood by the lines and done nothing. And because you have become another casualty in this psychosexual war, we're just going to kill you because we don't feel like doing what we need to do to prevent you from getting sick in the first place. It's reactionary. I'll never support that nonsense.
It's not nonsense, and I'll be honest, brother. I love you, but you don't understand warfare. Let's go back.
Well, I understand warfare. I just don't agree with you. And because I don't agree with you don't mean I don't understand warfare. I want to make that clear.
I'm going to say that. I let you speak. I'm saying you don't understand warfare. I'm not saying
I'm telling you don't know what I understand. And the fact that I don't agree with you does not mean I don't understand warfare.
It doesn't mean
You're
that.
You're drawing the conclusion that because I don't agree with you, I don't understand warfare.
Bruh, you say I'm saying
I'm a deep study of political science.
Hold up, I let you speak.
I understand that, but you made a conclusion I needed to speak on. So if you're going to make an assumption about me that you don't know, I'm going to interrupt you and speak on that.
I'm making a direct statement. Like you said, what I'm saying is ridiculous. I'm not telling you can't say that. This your airways.
No. But saying that what you said is ridiculous is coming from someone who's an expert in that area.
If you,
okay? But I didn't say anything about what you knew or what you did not know.
It don't
you
matter.
told me I don't understand warfare. We never had a conversation on warfare, so you can't make that determination, brother. That's what I'm telling you.
Now you giving it, then you got to take it. Now let's go.
No, I'm gonna give it and take it, brother. I give it and take it all day. I give it and take it. Let's be clear on that.
This is warfare. Mao Zedong said, "I know that the Europeans put you on heroin. I know it's not your fault. You got 3 months to get off heroin because we cannot have a country of heroin addicts. And guess what? China is arguably today the superpower on planet Earth. You know why?
I am well aware with the accomplishments of Brother Mao.
Wait a minute, hold up. After that 3 months, you know what he did? He took the
I know exactly what he did.
He lined them up and he blew their goddamn brains out. And he said, listen, I hated to do it, but it had to happen. And guess what? After that, they moved forward, and China is the world power in the world today. What do you have to say about that?
Okay, I'm going to tell you what I got to say about that. First of all, what you just spoke on. Okay, I speak on regularly, and who he exterminated was the traders, not necessarily those who suffer from chemical dependence. But the difference between you and Chairman Mao was that he had absolute control over the country, and you do not. So if you're going to give me that rationale and say, Brother Umar, we have control over our society, which we do not, and say that we're going to get rid of all sickness right now and start over, build it from the ground up. If you had control, then maybe I can listen to that. but you don't have control over your society like Chairman Mao does. The white man has control over your society. And until you get it, there's no way in hell I'm going to endorse any ridiculous strategy that says kill victims when we're responsible for the illness that they're suffering from because we ain't building the institutions that they need. So when you are in the position that he was in, we can reason on your strategy, brother. But until you are, we can't. It's not useful.
I'm saying it's a ridiculous statement because the reality is the only way to get control of your community is to say we're going to protect our babies. And you can't protect your babies trying to teach a pedophile. A pedophile is not a victim. A pedophile is a perpetrator. And there's only one way to deal with a perpetrator, and that to be serious and not use semantics. Semantics doesn't stop.
I'm not using semantics. Punishment does not cure a crime. It ain't slowed not one type of crime down ever. That's a damn semantic, and that's a myth. There's no proof in that. Show me any proof that punishing crime reduces it, Genie. It does not. No criminology textbook, no sociology textbook, no nothing. Not even African sociologists and criminologists on the continent. They will show you that it does nothing to do away with crime because most crime is motivated by unmet need, economic or psychological. So now, separate the pedophiles, Genie. Separate the pedophiles. Now we left with all the quote-unquote normal children. What are we doing for them to make sure they don't become pedophiles? Because I see you at the end of the cycle killing people who get messed up. What are you doing for the ones who ain't sick right now? Don't you telling me you're going to kill people when you're doing nothing for the healthy babies?
No, you are doing something. You're protecting them from getting raped. What are you talking about, bro?
What are you talking about? They can still develop that tendency to want to have sex with other children based on unmet needs. You ain't protecting them because you killed a pedophile or two. Pedophilia is a force, Genie. Thousands. Killing a few ain't going to do nothing about it.
Listen.
I just told you that one of the triggers for the behavior is unmet needs in childhood.
If one person,
so if you ain't supporting those parents and supporting those families,
if one
your knowledge of that whole psychological process that brings forth the pedophile is incomplete.
If one person can rape 300 people, you're saying if you catch them when they rape 50, don't stop them then. Let them rape another 200.
No. What I'm telling you is your whole approach to dealing with the problem is incomplete. That's what I'm telling you. I'm telling you that nowhere in your strategy, which is totally reactionary, do you deal with preventing the pedophiliac urge from coming into place in the first place. From beginning in the first place. And if you want to sit here and tell me it's all because some white man is showing the children how to be gay, now on the sociological level, yes, but that 16-year-old girl we talked about, hell, she probably never even been alone with a white man in her life. That ain't why the hell she doing it. She's doing it because she was traumatized.
And
she's doing it because she was traumatized by her own family.
And what
are we going to do to prevent the trauma that brings about the pedophilia?
Where did it come from? Are you telling me that whites did not put pedophilia in the black community?
I'm telling you that homosexual behavior has its origin in European cultural behavior. But I'm also telling you that from a psychological standpoint, children who molest will molest even if they never came under the influence of any type of European example of the behavior. I know because I work with them. Many of them never been exposed to that direct
European example of the behavior. What are you talking about? That is the European example of the behavior.
Say that again. I can't hear you.
America. We are in America. We've been on slave farms, and we've had cycles of sexual abusers in our families, raping our children.
And I'm telling you that not all sexual abuse is a direct result of learning it from white people. You damn right I'm telling you that. You damn right I'm telling you that some of that blame is on the black community itself. The reason why you don't get homosexuality in Africa prior to the invention or the coming to the continent of the European is because children were reared by a community. So the chance of them not having their emotional needs met were slim and probably totally didn't exist at all.
No, the reason you didn't have homosexual,
the reason you didn't, the manner in which our children are being raised is unhealthy. And when you have unhealthy processes in place, Genie,
the reason you didn't have homosexuality in Africa,
you're going to get pathological behavior. With or without the white man, you're going to get pathological behavior. With or without the white man, you're going to get.
Let me wedge in between just 1 second.
Brother, now I got to do this right now. I'm sorry. I hate to do it, but I had to do that. Look, that's real disrespectful what I'm doing. I love you, Brother Smith, but I'm going to hold it. I got this right here. The brother talking over top of me. Nah, wait a minute. I'm letting him talk. The reason we didn't have homosexuality in Africa before the European is because the Europeans didn't come there and rape them. Once they came and raped people and forced homosexuality on our people, now you got this sexual psychosis going around in your community. And the only way to fix it is to take the people who are so sick that they're going to do the Europeans' bidding and prevent them from doing it. And what Brother Umar here is saying is no, don't actually do nothing about it. Just let it roam, let it continue, and see if you can help the victims. Well, how many victims are you going to have? This guy's going to make 360. Then the next guy's going to make 360. Then the next guy's going to make 360. So you just let them make millions of sexual abuse victims while you sit around and come up and pontificate on how you can psychoanalyze somebody to fix them. It won't work. He can't prove that it'll work. It has never worked. No one can show any proof anywhere in the history of the world where sexual abuse has been fixed without dealing directly with sexual abusers and taking them out of positions of power over people. We do not have a way to control these people and lock them up. The only solution for it is for us to make sure that they understand they can't rape in our community. Let me put the brothers back on. Put both the brothers back.
Okay, you made your point. You talked about how there's no evidence here, no evidence there. Okay, first of all, there is evidence that sexual offenders can be rehabilitated. I work in that area. You don't. So you're speaking on something you don't know of. Second of all, you have no proof that punishing crime prevents it. Third of all, you still ain't speak one time, not one time, on what you're going to do to prevent that pedophiliac urge from developing in our children. You said they're getting it from the European. I'm not going to argue that. Largely that's correct, but it's not fully correct. And furthermore, as long as our children are exposed to European culture, what are you going to do to prevent them from developing the pedophiliac urge? Oh, you'll kill the baby, but you won't do a damn thing to the European. Like I said the first time, your strategy is totally reactionary and ineffective. What are you going to do to prevent the development of mental illness in a sick society?
Let me answer it. You asked me a question. Now, here's the proof in the pudding.
And stop muting the phone when you have something to say, brother.
Ask me a question, brother. Come on now. I'm trying to...
I know. I just say don't mute the phone. That's all I said.
No, I'm saying, just let me speak. I'm letting you speak. Here's the reality. You asking what I'm going to do. For the last 15 years of my life, predators in our midst. I've done that lecture maybe 7 times before I got it to where I thought it could help.
A lecture doesn't heal anything, Genie. So what? You did a lecture. What are you going to do to prevent it? What's the program? What's the process? Don't tell me about no damn lecture.
Brother, I'm sorry, Brother Smith. I don't want to mute Brother Smith. I'm sorry. I didn't mean to put the brother on there, but you see it. I'm letting him speak. He can't slow down. So I got to just cut him down so I can speak. Then I'll put him back so he can speak. Here's the reality, brother. For the last 15 years of my life, I've put together lectures that delve into the psychology of our people. And the brother left the line because I muted him. Okay. I apologize for that, brothers and sisters. I didn't mean to put him off the line, but we got to have respect on the forum both ways. The reality of the situation, I've put together, to the best of my ability, information. I want y'all to understand, I have to sit down and pour through thousands of hours of studying these sick psychopathic crackers to understand why our people are sexually abused. Let me go even deeper. Bro, I really hate to do this, King Samir, but I got to speak to this. I want y'all to understand why this is hurting me. The single reason that I've dedicated my life to my race today to fight these crackers for you is because I had a young lady who I was friends with in Massachusetts. I was 15 years old. I love this woman. She's a beautiful woman, Jamaican sister. And one day she sat down with me and told me that when she was in Jamaica and around 12 or 13 years old, one of those guys down there, I think it was her uncle or her cousin, dragged her into the woods and raped her. And at that moment, I said, whoever's out here raping our children, I'm going to get rid of them. I thought there was 2 or 3 guys. I could go find these guys and stop it and make sure nobody ever did that again. From that point in time, when I heard that and became aware that our people were getting savagely, psychologically, sexually ravaged, every sister I started meeting in my life started telling me, brother, I've been sexually abused. I've been sexually abused. It started coming so much, I stopped wanting to even hear it, but I could not turn away from my sisters who were telling me this. So we started to do it. I was with an organization called PKV, and the brothers were saying, man, we got to stop the sexual abuse in the black community. How do we stop it? Well, first we had to study it. This is back in 1990s. We started studying it. I didn't know that I was going to open up books and go through the history of Europeans and find out that this was what Europe did, and that sexual abuse, that the individuals with the power on this planet were sexual abusers, and they were intent on sexually ravaging everybody on this planet. I didn't know that. I didn't even want to know that. When I found it out, then what did we do? We had to teach our people. We had to start talking about what's happening in our community. And we doing lectures about this subject, going to our people saying we got to stop the sexual abuse in our community. We doing forums, we doing all of this stuff. As we begin to study it, we start saying, wait a minute, this is leading to an explosion of homosexuality in our community. Wow, this is orchestrated. It's not an accident. We started finding out about sex farms. We started finding out and started linking it to what they were doing in the prison systems with our youth. And we said, whoa, we are under homosexual, pedophilic, worldwide assault. How do you take that and make it simple for a person that's sitting in their home and their uncle rapes them every evening? This is the most difficult work in the world. When Brother King Samir said what happened to him, I swear to God, man, I had to walk to the other side of the room. I want to kill somebody, man. This is my brother, man. You know how many black men have come to me and told me, thank you for the work you do in these videos, because it's made me realize there's nothing wrong with me. I was violated and I'm a man and I'm going to keep fighting. Thank you, Irritated Genie. Do you think I want to hear my brothers telling me that somebody sexually violating them? I don't want to hear that stuff, man. But when I hear it, it don't make me run from it. It makes me say, I can't keep talking about this. Yes, we're going to keep educating our people, but these are real people who rape real children. Someone has to put their hands on these people. Brother Umar is a beautiful brother. He wants to save everybody. We can't save everybody. We can't save everybody. I love the brother because he loves our people so much he don't want to see one of them go. But God damn it, I don't love no pedophile. I want him to go. He has to go. I can't save my race if I got to go out here in the streets and fight and there's some faggot in my house that's going to put his hands on my daughter. I can't even go out there and fight. We have to clean up. We got to do it. That's why I don't drink. That's why I don't smoke. That's why we don't do these things. Why do you think we try to clean ourselves up? Why do you think we have these airways? We got these airways so you can hear this message. So we can try to do something. King Samir is doing it tonight. What I'm saying is we should have mutual respect. If Brother Umar wants to save the pedophiles, if he can stop them from doing that, he should be offered that opportunity. But what I'm saying is y'all understand what I'm saying out there. Y'all know what I'm saying. Somebody got to say there's another side of this. He's the healer, we the cleansers. If you can fix yourself, good. Better go do it, because if you don't, we're going to finish this problem. We're not going to allow you to do this. And we got to have that. And I don't like the fact that someone will come on One Horizon and try to tell people who don't agree that we can't do that, that they don't have the right to say that. But he got the right to do that. And it's his job to heal our people. But I'm saying when it happens, I got to speak. I'm sorry, Brother King Samir. It's back on you. I apologize.
Yeah, I'm here. I had my phone on mute. Sorry.
I apologize, brother.
Man. Well, brother, I totally understand. And like I said, family, I understand both sides, you know, but there has to come a time where justice has to be served. I mean, you know, we have to serve justice. Now, that justice could come in the physical form. It could come in the spiritual form. It could come in the healing form. It could come in the refining form. But justice has to be served. So, with all of that being said, I hope everyone really, really, really paid attention tonight. You know, I wasn't expecting that, but hell,
good dialogue. You know, I mean, we can't pontificate every goddamn thing all the time. We can't agree on everything all the damn time. Okay? But this is building. This is learning. Steel sharpens steel. Cotton only shines it. You know, so I thank Brother Umar for calling in, you know, with his fire as usual. I thank the Warden of Horizon team. I thank all of the callers and those who were just listening in their homes, in your cars, you know, in bed with Penelope, however you was listening. I truly and humbly appreciate it. And, man, this is, I guess, our longest show for the Stop Cooning Show. We're now at the 10 o'clock hour. But the information, family, I had to do this. I had to do this. I had to do this. I was excited about doing it because I knew it was going to raise our minds to a whole new level. So I thank everyone for your support. Keep listening to the Stop Cooning Show every Wednesday, 7 p.m. Eastern Time, 760-569-7676. The code is 948656. And I actually did have a question for Brother Umar. For somebody wanted me to ask, but we'll get back at it. But maybe I will. Let me try to give it a shot. The question was: were there any success rates of a pedophile? I guess refining his life or her life. Me personally. Let me say this is my first time actually sitting down with a pedophile trying to have dialogue. I've done nothing like this before, ever in my life, because in most instances, this is where I feel, Eugenie, that pedophile wouldn't have lasted too long, seriously. So in my growth and development as a leader, as a teacher, as a soldier, as a comrade, as your brother, I had to learn to become more diplomatic in my ways of thinking and actions because I am in a leadership position. So I have to really, really, really start understanding and carrying myself with that understanding in that manner. So as much as I felt like removing this pedophile from the planet, I had to now come into the thinking, rising above emotions, into the thinking of God. So I could be able to bring this dialogue to you. Because if I was still in my thug days, trust me, it wouldn't have went down so pretty that easy. So I thank everyone for listening, but please sit down with your children, talk to your children. Talk to your babies. You have to ask them, is Auntie such and such touching you? Is Uncle Do-Rag, how does he act around you? You have to talk to your babies. All right? So with that being said, family, I love you more than you hate your black self. Please.
The FBI did not send me. That's what I'm trying to say. I don't know. You said start right there. Let me start there because I just want to see a little more understanding that some of these boys and girls are victims of a large system as a whole. And
you said you want to see acceptance?
I personally think.
What does acceptance mean?
You can accept. You don't have to say that you're going to promote it, be okay with it, in a sense, but not.
We're not going to accept it.
Against it.
We're against it.
I understand you are against it.
Okay, we're not going to accept it. We're not going to accept anybody who accepts it.
What are you trying to get them to accept, Jack?
Homosexuality.
Not necessarily just saying, it doesn't just saying accepting homosexuality.
Not just accepting homosexuality. So accepting homosexuality and what else?
No, that's not what I'm saying.
Okay, what are you saying?
What I'm saying is that accepting the full system, the full everything that's happened to everybody.
I don't think
wait. Hold on. I need everybody to come. I almost asked you how this thing works.
No, I'm saying what I'm saying.
They ask you a very simple question. What specific thing
do you want, you said acceptance, and it's a simple question.
Right.
We're
So
not being
the
hostile
same
here.
way
Wait a
we accept
minute.
the crack dealer, because you have to understand.
Who in here
that-
accept crack dealers
Oh.
in your community and think that it's right to do
No,
so? Wait a minute.
that's not what I'm saying.
You need to chill out before I need
Okay.
you to chill out. I'm asking a simple question, right? Because see, we got to see how this thing works. Who in here accepted as acceptable to sell crack in the black community?
That's not what
Wait a
I'm saying.
minute. Who accepted as being acceptable to sell crack to black people? Raise your hand, please. Who said it is unacceptable to sell crack to our people? Please raise your hand. Okay. All right. So she said those of us the same way we accept crack dealers. Do we accept? Wait a minute. Stop. Straight black pride. Do we accept crack dealers in our community?
No, sir.
Are we going to accept homosexuality in our community?
No, sir.
Are we going to accept pedophiles in our community?
No, sir.
So your interests here are no longer useful, sister. So what do you want to do? We can stop. You can stop. Wait, you can stop right here. Well, you might be misinterpreted, but you got a choice. You
Because
can stop.
I'm here as
Go ahead.
Here we go, please. Can I say something? Get her up.
But no. Don't get his name. You're going to say that until she leaves, then we can talk. We talk about family. Yep. Yeah, we all do that. Let me just stop, because this is what I want to do. A lot of people,
There's guys and folks.
yeah, you know, and this is the thing. I want to say before I do it. I know some people are like, I didn't know that right. This is what happens. Homosexuals send in planes to disrupt and take us off of what we're talking about. So we have a whole list of videos that goes into everything she was talking about the feminization of the black male. We have racism. Everything she's talking about already exists in terms of that. What we did here, and I'm kind of glad that happened, because we got to understand something. First of all, if you were listening to it from the very beginning, it was obvious where she was going, but you might not have heard it.
That's right. I heard
But you don't want to jump out in front, because other brothers and sisters might not know where it's going. So you got to be patient and wait for them to expose themselves. So once she said acceptance, now we don't want to get into no long debate. That's why I stopped my brother. We don't want to debate. What do you want us to accept? Now she has to show what her real agenda is. And that's when we got to start getting cool and be quiet. Ain't nothing for us to talk about. Once she exposes who she is, there's nothing for us to debate her about. We're straight black pride. We believe in black men, women, and children coming to produce a family. There's nothing for us to debate with homosexuals, except where the door is. So she found a door. There's nothing she can help us do while she's here. And then we move on with the discussion. But this is important, because when the homosexuals are meeting to push that agenda, do we go to their meeting?
know where they're going. We don't even know.
If we did know, will we go? We don't want to be in that environment, right? But when we're here talking about, look at the brother back in the back holding his beautiful queen, and he got his sons with him, my wife over there with the children. We in a family environment. This is a friendly, peaceful thing. And we're talking about trying to do some other stuff. They're here to create disruption, and they're dishonest. But they're dishonest. I want you to hear this. It's very important. They're dishonest. She didn't say, I'm against what you all are doing. I want you to accept homosexuality. No. She tried to pretend like she was our friend. And then, at the end of it, try to pull us into it. So we got to start becoming a little more sophisticated.